On November 13th, 2022, in the early hour mornings, Maddie Mogan, Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, and Kaylee Gonsalves lost their lives in their off-campus housing. Law enforcement has asked us to stick to only law enforcement submitted press information, press releases to garner our factual information related to this case. Since this case, it was revealed, and again, we are just using this as speculative in nature because we cannot corroborate this information. However, on Nancy Grace, it was revealed that the DNA did not receive a hit. And Jackson Laboratories explains what DNA is.
What is DNA? DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid, is a molecule that contains the genetic code that is unique to every individual. Think of this code as an instruction manual for making all the proteins that form our bodies and help them thrive. The information coded in DNA is hereditary, meaning that it passes from parent to child. Because of this inheritance, DNA also determines our traits, including how we are shaped and how similar we look to our parents. These traits, coded in DNA, will always get passed on from generation to generation. The DNA that determines heritable traits is found in the nucleus of every single cell of our bodies. DNA is made up of two intertwined strands linked together by pairs of building blocks known as bases: adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. Bases make up the rungs of DNA's ladder-like double-stranded structure. When a base joins the side of the ladder, a nucleotide is formed. When nucleotides pair with an opposite DNA strand, the ladder is complete. An A base always pairs with a T base, and a C base always pairs with a G base. By reordering these four bases in long DNA sequences, an infinite number of combinations is possible. This is why there is a unique DNA sequence, or code, for every protein in our bodies, including those that determine our traits. For example, a sequence of ATT, TTG might instruct for blue eyes, while a sequence of TTT, TTG might instruct for brown. By understanding how DNA is formed and knowing what unique DNA sequences encode each protein, we can start understanding how DNA sequences affect how we function and how we look. This is because DNA is the instruction manual for all the proteins that form our body and help it thrive for hopefully 100 years or more.
Jackson Laboratories did this wonderful video explaining DNA, which I actually learned a lot from. But now we move on to what law enforcement may now know. Many people believe that law enforcement either, one, knows exactly who did this killing and are just building the case, or two, have no clue who this is and potentially could be what many believe may be a serial killer. We have learned multiple times from law enforcement that this was a targeted attack and this was a personal attack. Does that mean that the assailant left DNA behind? And if so, what was the DNA and how much was left behind? For example, was it a kiss? Was it blood? Was it tissue under one of the victim's nails? And if it did not receive a hit on the DNA, do they in fact have DNA of the assailant? And if so, and it did not hit, are they reaching out to other companies that can help them in an effort for, say, genealogy purposes? And so that brought me to this entire video, is that I have reached out to Ancestry DNA, which has one of the largest databases in the world for genealogy, and is curious if law enforcement has reached out to them, if and only if they have the DNA and are willing to ask for assistance in this case, would Ancestry DNA be willing to assist law enforcement in this matter. Please take a look at this email that I have sent to Ancestry DNA. To date, I have not received a response back from Ancestry DNA or the Mascow Police Department on whether or not they have asked for other outside resources to help in identifying the assailant of this horrible quadruple homicide in off-campus housing of the University of Idaho. We are asking that everybody say a prayer for these families, the victims' families and friends, as we are entering the Christmas season. And Christmas being right around the corner, I'm sure many of them are not going to be in the spirit of Christmas this year and for many years to come. So please, let's uphold and uplift these families and friends of the slain victims and pray for them. God bless each and every one of you, and you all have a Merry Christmas.